How's it going? My name is Ryan Martell. I'm going to be doing an instructional video on how to change your oil. The truck I'm using today is a 2006 Chevy Silverado 2500. So this exact process should translate to 2001 to 2010 Chevy Silverado trucks with this exact motor. But pretty much all oil changes are relatively the same, so you can use these tips for anything. The tools you're going to need: 2.5 gallons of 15W40, whatever motor oil you want. Next, you're going to need an AC Delco PF2232 is the part number. That's going to be your oil filter. You're going to need a copper crush washer. This is going to go on the oil drain plug to ensure that no future leaks happen. Fresh pair of gloves, because motor oil is disgusting. So gross. Next, you're going to need some shop towels and brake clean to pick up that disgusting motor oil, because you will spill it. I've done this a lot of times and I spill oil every single time I do it. It never fails. Next, you're going to need a 16mm socket. I use an extension with that on an electric ratchet. A normal ratchet works perfectly fine. I'm just extremely lazy. Also going to need a pair of filter wrenches. So these grab the filter. 2 different types, just because I can't remember which ones work on this truck. And lastly, you're going to need a drip pan and a funnel to catch your oil and then to refill it as well. All right, so your first step in this process is actually going to be to start the engine. So you're going to start the truck, run it for a few minutes, let that engine oil get warm, just so that when you drain it, it's a lot easier to come out. Once you've done that and the truck is relatively warm to the touch, which mine is, you're going to remove your engine oil fill cap. This is going to allow the engine oil to drain out easier. Plus, with the engine oil being warm, it makes this process much more fluid. For this next step, you're going to find yourself underneath the truck now, a very unpleasant place. You're going to locate the oil drain plug. It's a 16mm bolt. You're going to grab it with your ratchet after lining up your oil pan. You're going to begin to take it off. You can see mine's already dripping. This is also a good time to put on some gloves, because this is pretty much where it starts getting less fun. This is also a good time to inspect the end of your drain plug. There's a magnet on every single drain plug, and that is where you can find metal shavings. There should be 0 metal shavings in your oil. There also should be no metallic flake running through this oil as well. That's bad signs. And if you see those, you need to take it to a mechanic. You can remove that old crush washer and go grab your new one. And I'm just gonna sit and let this do its thing for a little while. All right, now that you've taken your break and let this oil drain, gotten away from the hot Florida heat, I'm going to reinstall this drain plug with your new copper crush washer. Snug it down by hand first. And you're going to grab your ratchets. You're just gonna snug, especially with a brand new copper crush washer. That does not have to be incredibly tight. Once you've done this, you can take your brake clean, kind of give it a little spritz. The reason you're going to do this is so that if you ever have any future oil leaks, you can diagnose them easier, and it's not just residual oil left over from when you changed it the last time. Grab your clear shop rag. Make sure everything's nice and clean and not dripping anymore. Now you are all done with your oil drain plug, and you are ready to move on to the oil filter. So now that you don't need this drain pan underneath your drain plug anymore, since it's all plugged back up and not dripping or leaking, you can slide the pan over to underneath your oil filter, which you can see is located right here. It's this big blue filter. You're gonna put your filter wrench on there. Start to slowly let it loose, and this is usually where I make an absolute mess, because I feel like it drains different every time. Once it's broken loose with your wrench, you can actually grab it by hand and just kind of spin it and let it drain a little bit. And I just like to go for it just to get it done with. I kind of put pressure back towards the filter housing, so that way the filter doesn't just drop unexpectedly, and I can kind of feel when it's unthreaded completely. And there she goes. Somehow I've yet to drop anything, which is extremely surprising. And then you're just gonna sit and give this a little bit of time and let it drain. All right, once your oil is pretty much slowed down as far as dripping goes, you're gonna take a little brake clean and spray it on the filter housing. You wanna take like a quick little look too to make sure there's no buildup on this filter housing. There's an O-ring that sits here. And if it doesn't seal, you will have an oil leak. Looks clean, looks good. Now you're going to grab your new filter and you're gonna wanna put oil all the way around this O-ring. I usually take the fresh oil from my new jug and I like to put it all around this O-ring. This ensures that when you turn this and spin it on, that this O-ring doesn't bind up and doesn't create a seal. When you put this on as well, all you need is your hand. You do not need the oil wrench again. You are completely done with that. All you need is to spin it on, get it snug, give it a firm grip, and just tighten it by hand. I promise you that O-ring is going to seal up nicely, wipe any residual oil, and you are completely done under the truck now, which is amazing. Now that we have drained the oil, changed the oil filter, everything underneath the truck is all sealed up nicely, you're going to take your funnel, plop it right in there. Going to grab your 2.5 gallons of preferred 15W40. And you are going to try to not make an absolute mess and get this in the truck. All right, now that you filled the entire thing up with engine oil, the only last step is to take out this funnel, put on your fill cap. All you need to do is start your truck or car, whatever you just changed your oil in, ensure that there's no leaks, and you're good to go. You officially changed your oil. Thanks for watching.